Hello, my friends. Welcome to part 5 to my 12-part series on the DNA results of Eastern hunter-gatherers from Sidelkino village in Samarskaya Oblast of Russia, in central Russia. This village is located right here in Samarskaya Oblast, right on the border of Samarskaya Oblast and Tataria. Now, this particular sample is dated to 62 centuries before the Common Era, so around 82 centuries before present. This is the Mesolithic period. This individual is an Eastern hunter-gatherer. Eastern hunter-gatherers were a hunter-gatherer group who lived in Russia and Eastern Europe in the Mesolithic period. This person is a mixture of ancient North Eurasians, 63.6% ancient North Eurasian descent, with a little bit of admixture from Western hunter-gatherers of Europe and Caucasian hunter-gatherers of Caucasus. Now, in regards to the haplogroups, this is a female. She does not have a Y DNA, and her mitochondrial lineage is U4D, which is a very typical mitochondrial lineage for various hunter-gatherers of Europe. Let's go ahead and see what she looked like. Let's look at the Shakot calculator results, and it looks like she had brown eye color. She is scoring mostly brown for eye color. There's a fairly large chance of hazel eyes and dark brown eyes as well, but most likely she had brown eye color. Definitely does not have blue eyes or green eyes or blue eyes with a neighbor center. Looks like for hair color, she most likely has dark brown hair, although there is also a pretty large likelihood of black hair for her as well, and she definitely does not have light brown or dark blonde or light blonde or red hair, so most likely her hair color is either dark brown or black. For skin color, it looks like she has light brown or olive skin, and she definitely does not have white or palest or dark brown skin, so she has quite dark complexion, as do all the other Eastern hunter-gatherers from this region. So she has some sort of olive or light brown skin, she has dark brown hair, and she has brown eyes. What kind of nationality looks like this? I would say perhaps Italian, perhaps Tajik, perhaps Iranian, um, not really Russian, not really somebody from this region today. And when it comes to hair texture, she is predicted to have wavy hair, definitely very cool. There is also a pretty large predisposition to straight and curly hair, but mostly she is scoring wavy hair, and she does not have kinky hair. Okay, that's pretty cool. For nose shape, she's actually scoring Greek shaped nose, which is definitely very interesting. I noticed there is a pattern of Eastern hunter gatherers mostly scoring snub shaped nose, so it is a little bit surprising that she's a little bit of an outlier, that she is scoring Greek shaped nose instead of snub shaped nose, which is more typical for all the other Eastern hunter gatherers to score. Okay, let's see coloring related variants found in the file, and looks like she does not have blue apple type 3. She also does not have BEH2. She also does not have BEH1, definitely very dark pigmentation related variants. So she also does not have any light color variants in this variation of HERC2, so she's definitely very, very, very dark based on her genotypes here. She does have two light color variants in this variation of SLC45A2, which does predict lighter pigmentation of eyes, hair, and skin, and she does also have two light color variants in this variation of SLC24A5, which also predicts lighter pigmentation of eyes, hair, and skin, which is really cool. This kind of genotype is like the reverse of Western hunter-gatherers. Why is it the reverse? It is reverse because in Western hunter-gatherers you would have two dark color variants here and two dark color variants here, but two light color variants in all of these variations. And in this case, it is like the reverse, where she's got two ancestral variants in all of the HERC2 and OCA2 variations, but two derived variants in all of the SLC45A2 variations, which is definitely very interesting dynamic. Of course, OCA2 and HERC2 is by far plays by far the bigger role in pigmentation of eyes, hair, and skin. So of course, Eastern hunter-gatherers are definitely much more dark, much more swarthy than Western ones. But SLC 45A2 also plays a pretty big role when it comes to pigmentation of eyes, hair, and skin as well. And I did notice that there were some other samples from Eastern hunter-gatherers from Sidielkino who had light color variants in here as well. There is a difference though. With Western hunter-gatherers, every single Western hunter-gatherer I've looked at so far has had BH3, 2, and 1. All of them have had BH3, 2, and 1 without any exceptions. When it comes to Eastern hunter-gatherers from Sidielkino or elsewhere, uh, there's been there's been some of them who have two light color variants in here, some of them with one, some of them with zero. There's like this and that, some with two, some with one, some with zero. There's they range. There isn't like general rule where you can say they all have two light color variants. Um, but there is a general rule where you can say that pretty much almost every Eastern hunter gatherer has zero light color variants in all the relevant variations of HERC2 that have to do with pigmentation of eyes and hair and skin. Okay, rant is over. I don't think I'm making too much sense. For MC1R, she does not have any light color variants for that, so she's not predisposed to being ginger. All right, and um, I did not cover this. Okay, no, this she doesn't have a genotype for this one, does not have a genotype for this variation, but she does have two light color variants in this variation of KTLG, so she does have a predisposition to light pigmentation of skin hair. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and see what she scores for the phenotype oracle. And for the phenotype oracle, yeah, pretty typical stuff. Definitely very exotic looking. Does not look like what most of these reconstructions of Eastern hunter-gatherers portray them as. I mean, if you look at the reconstructions of Eastern hunter-gatherers, they portray them as blonde and like European looking, which obviously isn't the case because they are a Mesolithic population, and in the Mesolithic, nobody was blonde, nobody was European looking, and at that point in time. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much what I think most of them look like. There were probably some exceptions, and there are some exceptions. I will show you very soon. You will see um, a sample from Sidielkino, who is actually predicted to have green eyes and dark brown hair as well, but green eyes, and you will see the phenotype pictures look very different from them as well. You will see that sample very soon on my channel. But it looks like most of these Eastern hunter-gatherers are very exotic looking, very non-European looking, and for the two-way mixtures for this sample, she is getting more as a mixture of, let's see, North Indian plus South Indian, Pamiri plus Pamiri, Tatar plus South Indian, Churka plus South Indian, French plus South Indian. Okay, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's close that. Definitely very exotic looking. Let's go ahead and see what she scores for the biomarkers panel. All right. And for the biomarkers panel, she's scoring average for the level of vitamin D. She's scoring average for the level of LDL cholesterol, pretty typical. Below average for the level of HDL cholesterol, also pretty typical. She's scoring below average for the level of glucose, which is really good. She's scoring below average for actually average for the level of hemoglobin. She's scoring average for blood pressure. She's scoring slightly above average for level of iron in the blood. So it looks like she might have some variants for hemochromatosis actually. So let's look up hemochromatosis in the file and see what we find here. Okay, we do not find anything here. Looks like nothing was found in the file for that. But there are some variations that contribute to the score that are not shown on the screen. Keep that in mind. She's got a slightly below average predisposition to sex hormone binding globulin. She's got a below average predisposition to level of red blood cell count in blood. She's got a below average base pairs for telomere length, so okay, slightly shorter lifespan, and below average height. So slightly shorter height. Definitely very cool. Let's close that, and let's see what she scores for the polygenic risk scores. All right. We're going to ignore everything that's average. So it looks like she does not have any risk variance for hemoglobin E disease. Very low odds for migraine. High odds for lupus. Below average odds for gout. Very low odds for exfoliation glaucoma, which is definitely very cool to see. Okay. She's got high odds for age-related macular degeneration (AMD). I have terrible pronunciation. Excuse me. She's got high odds for rheumatoid arthritis. She's got, let's see, low odds for epilepsy. She's got, let's see, what else? What can I talk about here? Let's skip through all that. High odds for male pattern hair loss. Okay. Which is typical for various West Eurasians to score higher for odds of male pattern hair loss. She's got no risk variance for atrial fibrillation, which is definitely very cool. She's got very high odds for bipolar type 1. Okay, that's definitely a little bit concerning. 3.18 times the average also bipolar type 1 is a little bit concerning. She's got definitely very high odds for schizophrenia as well. Okay. She's got high odds for type 2 diabetes. She's got high odds for Alzheimer's. And alright, so the things we have to watch out for is bipolar, schizophrenia, type 2 diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Alright. She's got no risk variance for breast cancer. That's really cool. 2 risk variance and all the important variations for testicular cancer and keto G, but it doesn't matter too much because she's a female. She does not have any testicles, so testicular cancer risk variance don't really matter too much for her. For celiac disease section, 2 risk variance out of 6. Okay, pretty typical. No risk variance for GSS. 2 risk variance for Crohn's out of 8. Okay, but these are not marked as important, so we can ignore that. No risk variance for Riefenstein's. 1 for Parkinson's. Okay, this is not common, so this is kind of concerning. 1 risk variance for Gilbert syndrome. This is marked as common, so we don't have to worry about that too much. And no risk variance for anything else. Yep, no risk variance for anything else. These 2 are marked as common, so we don't have to worry about them too much. These are marked as common, so we don't have to worry about them too much. This is also marked as common, so we don't have to worry about these too much. For allergies, she's got 4 out of 12, which is typical. Yep, so we don't see anything uncommon here besides the 1 risk variance for Parkinson's, so there is nothing to worry about in this result. So the only things that really stand out to me is the risk score for type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, and bipolar type 1. Let's go ahead and explore the result and see what she scores for that. So it looks like for Warrior versus Warrior, she's scoring much more Warrior. So slower dopamine reuptake and higher dopamine levels, lower stress resiliency. This is a very European phenotype to score, a very European phenotype to have. The crux of the Warrior versus Warrior dichotomy is that warriors have higher activity of the COMT and MAOA enzymes, which break down dopamine, so they have lower dopamine levels. Therefore, higher stress resiliency and lower ability to concentrate in low stress conditions, whereas warriors have lesser activity of the COMT and MAOA enzymes, and therefore higher dopamine levels and lower stress resiliency, however higher ability to concentrate in conditions with lower stress. So in the case of this individual, this female, she is a warrior. So she has lower stress resiliency but better ability to concentrate in low stress conditions. Very European phenotype to have. When it comes to DRD2, she has a predisposition to higher number of dopamine D2 receptor sets in the brain, which is a very non-European phenotype to have. And this also makes her predisposed to such conditions as schizophrenia and bipolar. Okay, for 5-HT and serotonin, she's got a predisposition to lower levels of 5-HT and serotonin, which predisposes her to such conditions as depression and anxiety. For autism, she's got predisposition to intermediate odds of autism. For lactose persistence, it looks like she's got a predisposition to intermediate odds of lactose persistence. But it looks like there was nothing found in the file for lactose persistence at all. For OXTR and empathy gene, it looks like she has a predisposition to higher level of empathy based on these 3 SNPs. Okay. For diabetes, we know she has high odds for type 2 diabetes, but average also type 1 diabetes. For Alzheimer's, let's see, she was scoring high for that. So she has this genotype which leads to increased risk of Alzheimer's, this genotype which leads to increased risk of Alzheimer's. But besides that, she doesn't really have any risk variants for Alzheimer's in the APOE, which is by far the most important gene for Alzheimer's risk. So I think she's quite good. She's alright. She is alright. For cardiovascular disease panel, she's got a predisposition to lower odds of cardiovascular issues, which is really cool. Definitely quite cool here. For facial morphology panel, she's got all European genotypes in EDAR, so does not have any East Asian variants for EDAR. All her genotypes in EDAR are atypical for Europeans. She's got a genotype for longer midface length, a genotype for intermediate odds of protruding nasal bridge, genotype for intermediate nose size, genotype for nose pointing up, interesting, and a genotype for lower odds of missing teeth, really cool. She does not have micropenis, really cool. She doesn't have a penis at all because she's a female, but she also does not have a micropenis, really cool to see. She's got better performing muscles like the sprinter and an endurance athlete, pretty cool to see as well. And what else can I talk about here? Not much. She does not have familiar Mediterranean fever. Okay. What can I talk about here? Let's go ahead and talk about rare diseases and traits panel. So she's got a genotype that leads to much lower risk of exfoliation glaucoma. Wow, that's really cool. So she has a genotype that pretty much protects her from exfoliation glaucoma. She is a carrier of a risk allele for neural tube defects and spina bifida. She has a genotype that greatly increases her risk of ankylosing spondylitis. She has a genotype that is very uncommon and leads to a significantly lower risk of certain autoimmune diseases. And she has a genotype that greatly increases her risk of eosinophilic esophagitis. Definitely very cool. For alcoholism, her risk score is much higher than average. Once again, I'm noticing a pattern of these Eastern hunter-gatherers scoring much higher than average for alcoholism risk. Definitely a very interesting pattern here. I wonder if these Eastern hunter-gatherers are really, if there's something about them that makes them so predisposed to alcoholism. Definitely very interesting here. Interesting pattern I'm observing here with the alcoholism and the Eastern hunter-gatherers. Okay, for Canavan syndrome, no risk variance for that. For APOB gene panel, looks like no risk variance for familiar hypercholesteremia out of 4 total, pretty good. HIV and AIDS panel, she's got 2 protective variants in here, which leads to a 90% reduction in HIV viral load. So she actually does have the variants that protect from HIV in this variation. Definitely pretty cool. Quite protected from HIV. And for HLA gene panel, she's got intermediate or slightly higher odds of autoimmune disease. Wow, okay, I think I skipped over both the wow, she's scoring intermediate. That's very interesting. I did skip over both the multiple sclerosis and the vitiligo panels. So let's scroll past and find them again. Yes, okay, so vitiligo, there is no HLA genotypes here. And the multiple sclerosis, let's find that again. I'm not finding anything here. So there's some other genotypes in HLA gene that aren't maybe shown on the screen that play a role. But anyway, she is scoring actually intermediate or slightly higher odds of autoimmune disease, which is definitely very interesting for the HLA gene panel. Okay, for the MTRR gene panel, she is scoring lower or intermediate levels of homocysteine, which is definitely really good, very healthy genotype. So it looks like she's predisposed to lower homocysteine levels. Overall, there's not much to be concerned about in this result. Besides the risk variance, the scores for schizophrenia and bipolar, and perhaps diabetes. But diabetes, there's not much to be concerned about there as well because there's so few SNPs to go off here. So the only things to really worry about is perhaps the schizophrenia and bipolar. All right, she doesn't have any risk variance for adrenal leukodystrophy out of 0 total, so 0 total. No risk variance for color blindness in OPN1SW. For FTO gene panel, she's got intermediate odds of obesity, intermediate or lower odds of obesity. Pretty cool. Based on these, let's see how many that is. That's 4 SNPs. And for syncope gene panel, syncope panel, based on 1 SNP, she's got slightly below average odds of syncope. For biotraits panel, let's see. What can we talk about here? She's got this genotype, she's to significantly higher odds for severe alcohol withdrawal and possible increased odds of ADHD. Wow. Okay, let's scroll past all of that. And for blood group panel, she's definitely got blood type O. The most common blood type throughout the world is blood type O, and that's the blood type she's got. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed watching this video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe in case it's the first video you watched. Make sure you leave a like in case you enjoyed the video. Maybe it's not the first video you watched from my channel. I do appreciate reading your comments, interacting with you guys, and you know, it's really fun for me to interact with you, with my subscribers. It gives me something to do in a day. In the description of the video will be the download link for the raw DNA file that I analyzed in this video. In the description will also be the download link, well, the link to buy my trait predictor that I used to generate these reports for these ancient samples that I analyze. In the description of the video will also be the link to purchase a $4 report. So if you have my Heritage, 23andMe, Ancestry DNA file, you can buy a report for yourself just like this for $4. Actually, it's going to be better than this because there's going to be a lot more information than what you see here. It's going to be much higher quality. You can look at my official website. You can see what sample reports look like. But anyway, thanks for watching. As I've said previously, leave a like and subscribe, and goodbye.